This is the Math 1 Unit 2 test review. If I go too fast, just pause the video so you have more time to write down things. You can always change the playback speed to make it slower. Number 1 says, what is the domain of the following graph? So your keyword is domain. Remember, domain refers to your x values. So your x values, you can go ahead and mark out A and B. They don't even have x in them. Do your x values, here's the x-axis down here, do your x values go from 0 to 12 or 300 to 1500? They go from 0 to 12. Number 2, for Amy's electric bill, the monthly cost C in dollars is given by the linear function C of t equals 10 plus 2t, where t is the number of hours you use your air conditioner. What is the cost of running your air conditioner for 2 days straight? So what's some important information here? Well, they give you a linear function, and they tell you that t is the number of hours you use your air conditioner. Well, I want to know, what is the cost for running it for 2 days? Well, t is number of hours, so you can't plug in 2 because 2 is not hours, 2 is days. You need to convert that to hours. So 2 days is 48 hours. So I'm going to plug in 48 for t. That's the number of hours you're running it. So 10 plus 2 times 48. 2 times 48 is 96 plus 10 gives you 106. So it will cost you $106 for that. All right. Number 3, you bought a new iPhone for $1,200. 4 years later, it is worth $200. What is the rate of change? So it's asking for the rate of change. Remember, our formula for rate of change is y minus y over x minus x. So you bought the iPhone for $1,200. That means it was brand new. So if you wanted to make that a point, it would be 0, 1,200. That's your starting value, 0, 1,200. 4 years later, it is worth $200. Those are your 2 points. So your y values, 1,200 minus 200 over x minus x, 0 minus 4. So that gives you 1,000 divided by -4, which is -250. So the iPhone is going down in value $250 per year. Number 4, the original value of a computer is $4,000. It decreases in value at a rate of 500 per year. Which graph shows the value of the computer as a function of its age in years? So the original value is 4,000. So it needs to start at 4,000, but they all do. Then it decreases. So we can go ahead and mark out H. It can't be H. It decreases 500 per year. So if I go to 1 year, I should be down to 3,500. So let's check this one. After 1 year, is it at 3,500? Nope. At 1 year, it's at 3,000. So that does not work. What about the next one? At 1 year, is it at 3,500? Yes, it is. So G is your answer. It's going down 500 a year. Number 5, what does the slope of the table represent? So keyword is slope. Remember, the slope formula is the same thing as rate of change, y minus y over x minus x. So pick 2 points. Those are your y values are on the bottom, x values are on the top. So 32 minus 48, 2 minus 5. That gives me -16 over -3. The negatives cancel out, so you get 16 over 3. Well, remember, y was money. Y was money. So this means this is $16. Remember, your x's were hours. So this is 3 hours. So what does it mean? It means you get $16 for every 3 hours worked. So D is your answer. Number 6, Jason studied how quickly ants consume things. He counted the number of ants on a banana peel at the end of each minute for 5 minutes. His results form the pattern 12, 19, 26, 33, 40. Write a now next rule to describe this pattern. So now next rules start with next equals now. And let's see what the pattern's doing. From 12 to 19, you are adding 7. Let's see if that works. You need to do it more than one time. From 19 to 26, do you add 7? Yes. So you're adding 7 every time. Starting at 12 is not your starting value. 12 is the first term. Your starting value is your 0 term. So you have to go back a spot. So instead of adding 7, you would subtract 7, which starts at 5. Number 7, a sequence is defined by the following. This means your first term is 5. That's what that means. Your first term is 5. And here you have a recursive formula, which is just the same thing as a now next rule. So this is telling you that each time you're adding 7. So what would be the 10th term? We have a couple ways to do this. You can do it the long way. So the first term is 5, and you're adding 7 every time. So 12, 19, 26, 33, 40, 47, 54, 61, 68, 75. So this was the first term. So this is the second term, third term, fourth term, fifth term, sixth term, seventh term, eighth term, ninth term, 10th term. So your 10th term is 68. You could have also made a y equals rule. So you know that your starting value, you'd have to go back a spot. Your starting value would be -2. And you're adding 7 each time. And you want the 10th term. So you could plug in 10 for x. 7 times 10 is 70 plus -2 gives you 68. So that's another way to do it. Number 8, which scenario can be modeled by the graph below? So notice that we have an inequality. It's been shaded. It starts at 20. So let's work out the first answer choice. 3 times the number of oranges, y. So they're letting y represent oranges. So that would be 3y plus 2 times the number of bananas, x is bananas, at least is greater than or equal to 60. Remember, you have to solve that. You have to put it in slope-intercept form to see if it matches the graph. So I would draw my line. I would subtract 2x and divide by 3. Well, you're dividing by +3, which does not flip the sign. So it's a greater than or equal to. For greater than or equal to, you would shade above, and they did not do that. So I'm not going to do any more work. I know A is not correct because the sign is wrong. All right, let me try B. 2 times the number of oranges, y, so 2y, plus 3 times the number of bananas, so 3x, is at most is less than or equal to 60. So for this one, I need to solve it for y. So I draw my line. So I would subtract 3x and divide everything by 2. So it's less than or equal to, so that's good because you shade below for less than or equal to. 60 divided by 2, though. 60 divided by 2 would give you 30. Isn't the graph starting at 30? No, so B is not the answer. C, 3 times the number of oranges, y, plus 2 times the number of bananas, x, is at most, so less than or equal to 60. So I'm going to solve it for y, so subtract 2x and divide by 3. So less than or equal to, so shade below, that's good. 60 divided by 3 is 20, so that's good. 60 divided by 3 is 20. And then -2/3 x, so let's check that. It would go down 2 over 3. So start here, go down 2 over 3. Yes, that works. So the answer is C. Number 9, compare the slope of the graph to a line with a y-intercept of -2 and an x-intercept of 3. Which one has the smaller slope? So compare, that means you're going to have 2 different slopes. The first thing, let's look at the slope of the graph. So you pick 2 points and you do rise over run. So it goes up 1 over 2, but it went to the left 2, so that's negative. So the slope of the graph is 1 over -2. Now we're going to find the slope of a line with a y-intercept of -2 and an x-intercept of 3. Well, let's make 2 points. Y-intercept, that would be 0, -2. X-intercept would be 3, 0. And the slope formula is y minus y over x minus x. So -2 minus 0, 0 minus 3, That gives you negative 2 over negative 3. Negative by negative is a positive. So you get 2/3. So which one is smaller? Which one is smaller? The negative 1/2 or positive 2/3? Negative 1/2 is smaller. So the graph is the smaller slope. Number 10, graph and label the slope and y-intercept. X minus y is greater than 4. Remember, you cannot graph until it is in slope-intercept form, until you have solved for y. So draw your line and circle y. So you would minus 1x, because x was positive. When we move it over here, it becomes minus 1x. And then you have to divide by negative 1. When you divide by negative, your sign flips. So you get less than negative 4. Positive 4 divided by negative 1 is negative 4. Negative by negative is a positive, so positive 1x. So negative 4 is your y-intercept. It doesn't have an x with it, so negative 4. And then you go up 1 over 1. This one is actually going to be dotted. Less than, if it doesn't have an equals to with it, it's dotted, and less than you shade below. Number 11, John is planning a party at a skating rink, and the cost of the party C is C of P equals 4P plus 20, where P is the number of people who will attend. What is the practical domain for this function? So the keyword is domain. Domain means x or your input. So it's your x values or your input. So in this case, I don't have an x. But what is my input? My input is P. And P stands for people. P stands for people. Remember, integers are whole numbers. Rational numbers can be decimals, fractions. It has to be a decimal that repeats or terminates. But anyways, if you're talking about people, you can't have any type of decimal. So it can't be B, it can't be D. So do we want all whole numbers or all non-negative whole numbers? We want all non-negative. People, you can't have a negative amount of people. So we want the positive one. 12, in which graph is y a function of x? So if you have graphs and you're trying to figure out if they're a function, you do the vertical line test. So you draw a vertical line through any part of the graph, and it can only touch it once at any part of the graph. So the only one that works is this one. Here it touches it there, 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 there. So the only one that works is B. Last one, a company's employees can be represented by the function n of x equals 2 plus 3x, where x is the number of months since the company started. What does the term 3x represent? So if it just said what did 3 represent, 3 is your slope. 3 is your slope. But it's saying 3x, so it's the 3 and the x together. So 3 is your slope, but x is the number of months. X is the number of months. So the number of employees increases by 3 each month. That's true, but it doesn't fully describe the 3x. The number of employees started at 3? Nope. The number of employees started at 2. The number of employees increases by 2 each month? Nope. The number of employees added after X months. Okay, that is the correct answer. So let's talk about that. So let's say it's been 4 months. Let's say it's been 4 months. Well, you would plug in a 4 for X because X is months. So 3 times 4 would give you 12. So 3x, 3 times 4 is 12. That's the number of employees added after 4 months. Okay. The number of employees increases by 3. That's just representing just the 3. It's not including the X with it. Okay, so D is the best answer for that one.